So whites are committing more crimes against blacks and Hispanics. Well, allegedly. What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to Common Sense, Logic, and Reason. And as always, thank y'all for joining me today. Now, y'all know my stance when it comes down to leftists and information. I always say, beware of Greeks bearing gifts and beware of leftists bearing studies, because they will try to pass off all manner of nonsense through studies and manipulated data. But the other day I was searching the internet looking for evidence, because I like to have the data to back my point up. I operate based upon facts, not feelings, as opposed to the left. And I stumbled upon this article, and it was from the crime report, and it was entitled, Interracial Crime Study Finds Whites More Likely to Assault Blacks Than the Reverse. And of course, knowing the left, your spidey sense go on, and there's some more information to this. But anyway, this basically article was reporting on a study, and it was primarily in It was basically California. Now, one of the thing that gets me is that the people who would shout this from every mountaintop, this study, would be the same people that are the detractors against the Roller Fry study. One of the biggest knocks that they have on it, that they try to downplay the study, is that it's such a small sample size, right? And it's primarily Houston and Miami, and I believe DC as well, but I know it's Houston and Miami. They say that that's just too small a sample size to be realistic. Meanwhile, Los Angeles, I guess, is big enough. When the study basically, quote unquote, supports your argument anyway. So that's just leftist hypocrisy there. But the study or the article goes on to talk about how the study, it compares this crime versus that crime versus face to face, a whole bunch of just gobbledygook nonsense. Then it talks about that, neighborhood by neighborhood, white people are assaulting and committing more gun crime against blacks and Hispanics, and the richer or more influenced the neighborhood, the worse off it gets. But then they goes on to admit, the study admits that blacks and Hispanics are committing more crimes and assault against white people with weapons and guns and more assault. However, in true leftist fashion, they try to explain it away by, accounting and controlling for it. And that's how they manipulate data. Now, are there legitimate means for accounting and controlling for factors? Well, yes, I do it all the time. For instance, when people say, that argument, well, white folk commit more crime. Well, according to the FBI, that is true. However, when you account for the fact that white people outnumber black people roughly about 5-1, and when you also account for the fact that the majority of Hispanics are added to the white column, and if you account for the fact that the white column outnumbers the black column about 6-1, then you would expect the white column to commit more total crime, right? If they outnumber us 6-1, that shouldn't be no shocking. But if they do outnumber 6-1, it should be they should commit roughly 6 times as much crimes as we do. And of course, it's not even remotely close to that. The average of any given year is roughly between 2 and 2.5 times as more crime that will be committed by the white column than the black column, which means that the black column is committing crime at a far higher rate. Now, everything I just said makes perfect sense. I don't have to go on anymore, because anyone reasonable that wants to hear truth can say, yeah, that makes perfect sense, right? So what did the study account for? Basically, they tried to control for neighborhood and time effects. Now, if you're like me, you're thinking, what? Huh? Like, that makes absolutely no sense. You're telling me that blacks and Hispanics are committing more crime against white folks, then the reverse. But if you count for control for a neighborhood and time effects, it's the reverse. Really? Again, this is why you can't take these people serious, the left serious, because this is the type of nonsense that they operate in. And of course, the article never goes on to explain exactly what the hell neighborhood and time effects really means. And really, truly, they can't because it's a bunch of bullshit. Well, at least until somebody explained to us what that means, because offhand, unlike the population rate that I just gave in percentage of population and size, population size, this makes absolutely zero sense. But this is why, like I said, this is why you never take leftist studies and data on face value. You got to research and get the whole truth, because there's been countless times when I've heard some leftists talk about some study, some data, right? And then you go in and you do your research and you find that they left out a lot of information that was very vital and that basically gave us whole truth. For instance, the white folks commit more crime. When you do your research and find the truth, you see that okay, it's a bunch of BS, right? Sure, they do, but black folks commit crime at a far higher rate. But anyway, y'all, if you were ever wondering by what I meant by when I say, beware of leftist bearing studies, well, this is a perfect example. You cannot take anything these people say at face value because they just flat out lie and they don't care. I mean, they would, like I said, they lie like 10 dogs with a straight face. But anyway, y'all, if you ever hear, another leftist quote unquote study, please do your research and get all the evidence of the data, because you know they're going to give you half truth, y'all. But I just thought I'll point this out as proof of what I mean by not taking anything they say at face value. But anyway, y'all, just some information, just a point out there, just some information, just do something to be heads up about, and proof of why I do what I do. But anyway, y'all, as always, until next time.